Brutal truth time. A cheap car does not always mean cheap to insure. In fact, some of the bargains you see online are only cheap until you run the quote. Today I want to save you from that nasty surprise. We are talking about the cars that look budget-friendly on the driveway but sting you every single month because insurers see them as risky. By the end, you will know exactly why this happens, which cars are common traps, and how to check the real cost before you buy. Here is the myth. Small car, small engine, small price, must be cheap to insure. Sounds right, until you remember insurers do not care about your logic or the asking price. They care about risk and cost. They look at who usually drives that model, how often it is crashed, how much the parts and labor cost when it is repaired, how often it is stolen, whether it is modified, and even where it sleeps at night. Your age and postcode matter, yes, but so does the car's history in the hands of thousands of other drivers. That is why two cars that look almost identical on paper can be worlds apart on a quote. Let's start with the classic trap, the hot version of a harmless city car. Think about a Fiat 500 with the Scorpion badge. To most people it is still a cute little Fiat. To insurers it is a hot hatch with firm suspension, bigger brakes, punchy power for the size, and a driver base that loves a spirited back road. It attracts modifications, it attracts attention on a Friday night, and it attracts higher claim costs when that fancy bumper or wheel needs replacing. So even if you find one for a few £1,000s, the premium can jump far higher than the normal 500 with a modest engine. Same shell, completely different risk story. Next, the older performance trim that has fallen into budget territory. The Mini Cooper S is a perfect example. On the classifieds you will see tidy ones for less than £3,000. Tempting, because the drive is brilliant and the running gear feels premium. But the badge and the performance history follow the car forever. Insurers see turbo power, eager owners, and a long record of claims that cost more than a little city runabout. Add in the reality that a lot of these cars have had modifications over the years, even if it is just an intake, an exhaust, or wheels, and the risk score climbs. You might save at purchase and then give it all back, month after month, to your insurer. Then there is the young driver magnet. Cars like the Vauxhall Corsa VDEX R or the Ford Fiesta ST look like great value as they get older. They are quick, they are fun, they are everywhere. The problem is simple: claim frequency. If a model has a reputation for crashes with newer drivers, premiums rise for everyone, even sensible older buyers. It is not fair in the pub chat sense, but insurers look at the numbers, not individual intentions. A tidy example with careful previous owners still sits inside the same risk pool. Again, cheap to buy, surprisingly expensive to keep insured. While we are here, let me call out a few other sneaky ones. Sporty trims of otherwise sensible hatchbacks, S-line badges, FR badges, GT or R badges, Cooper S or John Cooper Works, cup packs, anything with a factory body kit, larger wheels, or a known tuning scene. Diesel torque monsters can be the same story if they are the high-output versions. The recipe tends to repeat: more performance equals more claims equals higher premiums, even when the car is a decade old and within your cash budget. So why do these cars cost more to insure than you would expect, even when you drive like a saint? First, parts and labor. Performance brakes, fancy bumpers, xenon or LED headlights, and large alloy wheels are expensive to replace. Second, theft risk. If a model is popular with thieves, premiums respond. Third, modification risk. Cars that live in a tuning culture often show up with non-standard bits, which can complicate repairs and add cost. Fourth, driver profile. If the typical buyer is young, claims trend higher. Fifth, crash patterns. Some cars are simply involved in more incidents per 1,000 vehicles on the road. None of that is personal. It is the big data picture, and you are being priced as part of the crowd that car belongs to. Now for the practical bit you can use on your next search. Before you even book a viewing, run test quotes. Do 3 quick passes, best case with the slowest engine and a sensible trim, your actual target car, and a backup model that is known to be gentle on insurance. Keep everything honest and consistent: your real address, your real mileage, your actual driving history. Try a few safe levers. A slightly higher voluntary excess can help. Parking off-street can help. A professionally installed tracker or an approved immobilizer can help. A black box policy can help for some drivers and hurt for others, so check both ways. Adding a genuinely experienced named driver who really uses the car can help, but never play games with who the main driver is. That can void a policy. Small changes like choosing a non-sport trim, smaller wheels, or cloth seats instead of leather can shift the quote more than you expect because the repair basket is cheaper. Let me give you 3 mini stories that happen every week. Story 1. Someone buys a bargain Abarth-style city car because it is only a 1.4. They insure it after the fact and discover it is classed with genuine hot hatches because of who drives them and how they get repaired. The quote wipes out the saving on the car within a year. Story 2. A viewer messages me about an older Mini Cooper S they adore. Purchase price perfect. History great. The insurance, however, is twice what they pay on a normal Mini with the little engine. They pick the slower car, add better tires and fresh suspension, and end up happier overall. Story 3. A young driver grabs a used Fiesta ST because it seems cheaper than a newer basic Fiesta. Insurance turns the maths upside down. They switch to a Fiesta with a 1.2 or a small 1.0 non-turbo and put the spare money into maintenance and a quality set of tires. That car is cheaper to insure, cheaper to run, and better to live with. What are the safer bets if you want to keep premiums in check? Look for honest, unfashionable, and unmodified. A Toyota Yaris with a modest engine, a Honda Jazz driven by someone's granddad and serviced on the dot, a Hyundai i10 or a Kia Picanto in a normal trim, a Ford Fiesta with a basic petrol engine, a Fiat Panda that has not been near a track day in its life. None of these will win bragging rights in a car park, but they are reliable, easy to repair, and sit in calmer risk pools. If you want something a bit bigger, a 5-door Focus or Astra with a simple petrol engine and a sensible trim can also be friendly to insure compared to their sportier brothers. 2 more quick tips that most people miss. First, postcode rating is real. Moving 1 mile can change a quote because claim patterns change. You cannot fix that today, but it explains some of the madness. Second, mileage matters. If you estimate honestly and keep it reasonable, you might qualify for a cheaper bracket. Do not try to game it. Just be accurate, and remember to update your insurer if your use changes. Finally, declare every modification, even little ones. Undeclared changes can void a claim, and that is the most expensive outcome of all. So here is the simple checklist before you hand over cash. 1. Shortlist the car, then run a real quote, not a guess. 2. Try the next trim down or the smaller engine and compare. 3. Check alternatives that do the same job without the fast badge. 4. Add up the true monthly cost, including insurance, road tax, fuel, parking, and a maintenance buffer. Budget-friendly means the whole picture, not just the sticker price. If this has saved you from a painful insurance bill, do me a favor and share it with someone who is car shopping on a tight budget. And if you want to keep more money in your pocket, your next stop is my video on 5 overpriced used cars in 2025. It will help you dodge the models that look shiny in the advert but are not worth the money once you live with them. Thanks for watching, and I will see you there.